Chapter 5, The Trade-Offs. Reclaiming your health with a lifestyle approach will certainly take work. It will take sacrifice. I like to think of the effort and sacrifice as a trade-off. You can't get something for nothing is true in life and in health. If you want a different output, you need to change the input. That's the trade-off. Of course, this is hard at first. We like to do what is familiar. Change is uncomfortable but not impossible, and it most certainly does not have to be miserable. The reality of trade-offs is something I teach my children. My 6-year-old was in the habit of staying awake late into the night to play. Consequently, he was also in the habit of being very cranky and sluggish the next morning. So I sat him down and laid out the trade-offs. When you stay up too late, you feel tired in the morning. If you don't want to feel tired in the morning, you need to go to sleep when it's bedtime. It took 3 or 4 days before he really started listening to me. He wanted to make a different trade-off. He wanted to stay home from school when he was too tired. Of course, that wasn't an acceptable solution. We do this as adults, don't we? I know I do. We want to have our cake and eat it too. But the truth is, we have to face the natural consequences of our choices. When you pick up a stick, you get both ends, whether you like it or not. If we want a different output, we need to make a different input. So the first step to better health is getting clear on the choices and consequences, our habits, and the results. Only then can we choose differently. We can't not change our habits if we really want to get healthy. That might be hard to swallow, but that is one of the trade-offs. That's the reality of human behavior and health. The good news is that you have help. Chapter 6 will give you all the behavior change strategies you need to be successful. Sometimes it's hard to be honest about where our past habits and lifestyle have brought us. But you can be honest about what needs to change without shaming yourself. I like to remind my clients and myself that they did the best they could at the time. You can love, forgive, and accept yourself and move forward. The upside of all this is that if our past choices created the problem, our future choices may create the solution. What will it take to reclaim your health? The principles of a healthy lifestyle are the same for everyone. It's the application of these principles that looks different for each individual. The trade-offs you need to make may be different than someone else's. In this book, we'll focus on 5 crucial areas of healthy living: sleep, nutrition, exercise, stress management, and mindset. Each area will be laid out in greater detail in chapters 7 through 11. For now, let's take a bird's eye view of them. As you think about these 5 areas of focus, ask yourself, what do I need to stop doing? Then ask, what do I need to start doing? What trade-offs will you need to make in each area? Remember, the goal is to feel better, more vibrant and healthy, so you can show up as your highest functioning self. Listen to your intuition here. A word of caution. If you already are feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. You might be looking at the 5 areas and say, I need help with all of them. That's fine. We can work with that. Remember that everyone hikes Mount Everest the same way, one step at a time. That feeling of overwhelm is a sign of taking on too much all at once. Pace yourself. Don't look at the summit and beat yourself up for not being there yet. You're here for the adventure and the journey, remember? You'll get there when you get there. So think of it like putting one foot in front of the other. What comes first? What's directly in front of you now? A helpful container to put around this first step of your journey is to think only about the next 90 days. What is reasonable for you to focus on in the next 90 days? Start there. You don't have to have all the answers right now. In this book, there's a chapter for each aspect of your healthy lifestyle to guide you through the process. And remember, you don't have to jump into action right now. Just keep reading, soak it all in, and all the tools and strategies I'm giving you in this book will be here when you're ready to move into action. Speaking of which, now is a good time to introduce a pretty important perspective as you consider changing your habits and lifestyle. The Stages of Change is a behavior change model developed by James Prochaska and Carlo De Clemente. The following graphic reassures us that changing behavior has more than 2 stages, changing and not changing. There are actually 5 stages. You can be at different stages in different areas of your life. You could be in the action stage for prioritizing sleep, but the pre-contemplation stage for improving nutrition. That's okay. The other important thing to note is that the stages can be quite fluid. You can move back and forth between stages, and you can also get bumped down all the way from stage 4 back to stage 1. Life happens. This model of change gives us perspective on that process and reminds us that we can learn from each relapse. That's the key. You're making progress as long as you are learning. I share this because I hope you will be patient with yourself. You are a complex human being living a complex human life. As long as you are supported and intentional, anything is possible. It may just take some time. With that in mind, let's consider what your areas of focus would be. Go to danielleinkelman.com/toolkit to fill out your very own wellness wheel and health behavior baseline quiz to get a clear picture of your starting point. Check your expectations. Now that you're getting some clarity on which areas of health and wellness you would like to focus on first, it's time to put all those yeah buts we talked about in the last chapter to rest, or at least put them on the shelf. The reasons and excuses for not moving forward in your health goals will never completely go away, but I can give you some new language to use when these old buggers show up now and again. These are the trade-offs, letting go of the old to make room for the new. You'll be changing the input so you can have a different output. Most of the women and men I work with suffer from unrealistically high expectations of themselves. Whether it's in their work, family responsibilities, or personal life, they tend to beat themselves up whenever they fall short. And let's face it, they almost always fall short because their best is never good enough. Thanks a lot, perfectionism. Their expectations are simply too high. If you can relate, this is a very good place for you to start. If you expect to be perfect, you will be disappointed. Where do you expect perfection of yourself? Let's be real here. Pull out your journal to get clear and present with this right now. If you are willing to believe you don't have to be everything to everyone, you're in a better position to make the trade-offs necessary to take care of yourself. Look at your life. Where are you giving more than you need to? Think of how you spend your time, energy, and money. Where is there room for adjustment if you adjust your expectations for yourself? You know, in the business world, especially technology products, there's a concept in the industry called MVP, or minimum viable product. Companies pushing the outer limits of technological advancement don't go out and try to create the perfect product. They try to create the next product. MVP is not a bad idea when it comes to life's commitments of time, energy, and money. Where are you over-delivering? Where could you pull back just a bit? Here's a tough one for a lot of my clients. Are you ready to start saying no without feeling guilty? To take back your time, energy, and money, you will need to say no to some people and things. Are you ready to stop feeling guilty about that? You can be more realistic about your bandwidth. You are not superhuman, and that's okay. Because you have a finite amount of time, energy, and money, it's okay to make adjustments and trade-offs. Let's take a closer look at those trade-offs now. Taking the time. One of the biggest trade-offs you'll need to face is carving out time. Do you feel like there's just never enough time to do everything you need to do? Are you constantly rushing from one activity to the next? Do you feel like your schedule rules your life? It may be time to turn things around. If you feel victim to a lack of time, you need to put yourself back in the driver's seat. For starters, refer back to your expectations. Remember that you do not have to do it all. Remember that you are done being everything to everyone. With that in mind, look at how you are spending your time and question everything. Have you ever tried the Marie Kondo method of purging your possessions? This famous closet cleaner and hoarder healer recommends not just looking at what you have and pulling out the things you think you can part with. No, she tells you to pull every single item out of the closet, the garage, the kitchen, cupboards, or whatever area you are working on, and clear out the clutter. There's something pretty powerful about this process. What if we did this with our schedules? What if we pulled everything out, held it in our hands, and asked, does this spark joy? Or is this essential to my purpose in life? Big questions, I know, but this is where you get to start from scratch and redesign your life from the ground up. It's time to start living life more proactively and less reactively. How you spend your time reveals what you value most. Make a list or a mind map of all the responsibilities and activities on your plate. To make a mind map, write me in the middle of a piece of paper and draw a circle around it. Now start drawing lines out to anything that you spend your time and energy on. Keep going until you've created a web with all of your responsibilities and activities. Which ones reflect what is really important to you? What's missing? What do you wish there was more space for? What needs to go? Identify those non-essentials and cut the cord now before you change your mind. Write the email, make the phone call, let people know you are simplifying your life, and don't be afraid to let people down. They'll get over it. There's a big difference between finding the time and making the time. It takes intention. It requires that you are crystal clear on your priorities. It requires you to make choices and trade-offs. This is what it takes to put yourself back in the driver's seat of your life. One of the things that comes up most often around time management with my clients is taking time for themselves. Again, here is where a big-hearted, service-oriented woman or man would have a very hard time looking at self-care as anything but selfish. Keep reframing this thought if it is still coming up for you. If you're ready to believe differently, it's time to put yourself on your to-do list. I had a client once imagine her life was a pie chart. I asked her how much of each piece of the pie went to the various responsibilities in her life. She said 50% went to work, 25% went to her kids, and 25% went to her husband. It was a pretty eye-opening experience for her to put numbers and percentages to it like that. As a coach, it's my job to ask the right questions. So, of course, I said, where is the time for you? Her answer was obviously 0%. From there, our work was clear. We needed to make time in her life for her. We worked on adjusting the expectations she had for herself, as well as the expectations she believed her clients and family had for her. Then went to work carving out 5% here, 5% there, until she felt she could say about 20% of her day went to taking care of herself. It was wonderful to walk her through this process, and you can do the same. What parts of your day will you set aside just for you? What will you do with that time? What do you need? You might be used to thinking only about what others need, but if you are truly going to take a lifestyle approach to reclaiming your health, you get to start tending to your needs as well. Investing in your health. Another big trade-off you might need to make is using your money to invest in your health. If your relationship with money is not healthy, it will be hard to do this. Have you ever thought about your relationship with money? Maybe that's a funny way to think about it, but money really is no different than time. It's a finite resource you get to choose how you use. You decide whether you will be a victim to it or the wise steward of it. Sure, this is easy for people who have plenty, but even if you feel you have less than the ideal amount, how you think and feel about money will actually make a huge difference in your reality. If you focus on how there's never enough money, you'll be right. If you focus on how lucky you are to always have enough to meet your needs, you'll also be right. While most of my clients don't struggle with what has been coined as money mindset, I definitely have fought that fight myself. I like to think I am winning. I am making progress, and I am in a better place with my relationships with money than I have ever been. If you feel you could improve how you think and feel about money, keep reading. If you don't struggle with this, feel free to skip to the next section of this chapter. When it comes to your relationship with money, there are 3 things to be mindful of: facts, feelings, and choices. Let's look at facts as they relate to money and your health and wellness. Facts will include your income, the number of people in your household, the cost of your home, car, groceries, etc. When we look at facts, we can definitely find things to shuffle around. Budgets can always be reimagined. Just like your time or your closet, chances are there are things you can clear out to make room for what is most important to you. One of the biggest hangups I see people have around money and health is the cost of food. They believe healthy food is expensive. So here's a fact for you. If you do it right, truly healthy eating actually saves you money. As you'll see in Chapter 8, the more natural, wholesome foods you eat, the lower your grocery bill will be. I'll show you in more detail when we get there. Let's look at your feelings around money. Do you feel it is okay to invest in yourself? That's a hard one for a lot of people. Money, just like time, is for taking care of everyone else, not me, they say. There's that fear of selfishness coming up again. Think of it this way. What would your ROI, or return on investment, be if you invested in yourself? One of the biggest returns is the possibility of getting off expensive medications or preventing the conditions that would require them, strengthening your immune system, and going to the doctor less, as we discussed in the last chapter. What else? Maybe the return is not financial. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's better relationships, or maybe it's physical. Maybe feeling better in your body is ROI enough. Are those things worth it to you? We spend money on things like this all the time. Why not on your health and well-being? Something to sit with and consider. Now, let's talk about choices. Money, like time, is something we get to choose how we spend. Step back and really see yourself as the decision maker in your life when it comes to money. Again, it's time to put yourself in the driver's seat here. There's no right or wrong way to manage your money. There's no right or wrong way to invest money in your health and wellness. What is important to one person may be completely non-essential to you and your situation. Maybe it is absolutely essential for you to acquire an at-home treadmill. Maybe for another, there's no need because they live near a park and the weather is always 70 degrees. We are all in unique circumstances, so we get to make unique choices. Where can you improve your relationship with money? How can the facts, your feelings, and your choices help you make space for what you need to do to reclaim your health? I'm proud of you for considering what needs to shift for you. This is worth it. I hope you are beginning to feel that it is okay to take the time, energy, and money to take care of yourself. This is where success starts for every one of my clients. When they really capture this new belief that it's worth the trade-offs, when they want it and know they deserve it, and when they believe it doesn't have to be as hard or impossible as they thought it was. By small and simple things, you can change your life and your health. Refining and rearranging how you spend your time, money, and energy will make all the difference. With this, you are doing the work and making the space to take care of yourself. It will be worth it. These small decisions will make a big impact over time. You'll be setting a wonderful example for your friends and family. You'll soon be feeling more vibrant and healthy, and everyone who depends on you will notice the difference. Everyone wins when you do what it takes to take care of yourself. At times, the trade-offs may seem like too much to ask. That's okay. It's normal to feel like that. I invite you to just experiment with trade-offs if you need to at first. I had a client tell me she was tired and exhausted all the time and didn't know what to do. She was a mother of 6, with 2 of her little ones home with her all day. When I asked if she ever took a nap in the middle of the day, she scoffed. However, we couldn't think of anything else to help her have more energy, so we got creative. She made a plan to take a nap when her little ones napped, even though she would be giving up her chance to clean the house. I'll never forget what she shared with me in our next coaching session. She tried it, and it worked. The nap helped her feel much better during the latter part of her day, and she was able to show up as the mom she wanted to be for her older kids. She admitted her house was less tidy, but she said, "For how good I felt, though, I'll take that trade-off." What will you give to feel that way? What will your trade-offs be? It will take time for you to recognize them, and will take some creativity to find new ways of doing things, but I assure you, it will be worth it. More trade-offs will become apparent to you as we go along. I can't wait to walk you through those 5 crucial aspects of healthy living. In chapters 7 through 11, we'll dig into sleep, nutrition, exercise, stress management, and mindset. Keep an eye out for what your trade-offs in each area may be. Remember, the name of the game is doable and enjoyable. Please do not continue reading this book bracing yourself to do whatever I tell you to do. Just learn the principles of reclaiming your health and follow your intuition on how exactly to go about applying them in your life. Before we go there, though, there's one more thing you need to be successful. You need to know how to make healthy changes in sustainable ways. This is where the magic really happens. In your toolkit at danielledinkelman.com/toolkit, there's a PDF for your wellness wheel and a PDF for the health behavior baseline quiz. Go ahead and go to that link and check it out. Here are your Chapter 5 journal prompts. Number 1, what parts of your day will you set aside just for you? What will you do with that time? What do you need? Number 2, list all the priorities and responsibilities you have in your life. How balanced does your life feel between these priorities and responsibilities? What could you do to take some pressure off? Number 3, create a mind map of all the activities you spend time on. Which ones are in line with your top priorities? Which ones could you let go of if you needed to? Number 4, take a look at your income and expenses. Make a list of expenses that would vanish or decrease if you adopted a healthier lifestyle. Tally up the total potential savings. Number 5, what work will be required of you to create a healthier lifestyle? What sacrifices will you need to make? What benefits do you expect to receive in return?